wasn't going to do this, but I think I will. So give me 30 seconds to get back there. Okay. So what I wrote. This is a sort of challenging movement to sell because of its length, and there is a certain amount of repetition in it too. So what you have to do is do your best to, I would say, exaggerate effects, to make differences even between piano and pianissimo. And I don't know, overdo some of the things that you're already doing. There are some phrases, one of which I'll talk about in just a second, where Schubert doesn't give you any advice, but it just seems to me that you can't do it just exactly the same. It repeats itself. Well, I can tell you. Do you have measure numbers?
Yes.
Okay, 51, da-dum, da-da-da-dum, da-da-da-dum. Da, 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 da. You know, it happens about 5 times in a row. Somehow or other, they can't sound the same. That I'm getting ahead of myself, but those are the kinds of things. I mean, even though the composer doesn't, well, he has a diminuendo there, and maybe you weren't doing quite as much as you should, but this movement, he doesn't give you as much help dynamically as I think you need to make it a little bit more interesting than you are at the current time. When you start, even though it's on Andante, for me the staccato chords are a little soggy. I think music. A little much. Can you try it? That's good. So, I mean, it's Andante con moto, so it has maybe just a little more energy than you were doing. Can you try it? Yes. I prefer that myself. And needless to say, all the way through the theme, I would do this. I mean, it's a teeny bit different, but it just has a little bit more. More interest. And I agree with what you're doing with a bump, ba-bump, because you're using a little pedal on the chord, but not enough so that it's sustained. Yeah, I got you. Okay, good. I was wondering in the trill, I'm a sort of detail person. This sometimes can get boring for auditors, but on the trill, da, 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 have you guys thought about not just starting the trill exactly at the same speed and just da, 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 as opposed to da, you just as a sort of expressive gesture?
Like
my singing isn't very good. Yeah, something of like that. I mean, it's a nuance you wouldn't want to do every time, but again, you have what? You have a couple of those trills. You could do it even on the first one in bar or whatever that is. You know, the third bar you play, or later. Actually, I think I'd kind of like it on the first one. And needless to say, if you do it when you have the tune right there, you probably want to do the same thing. Can we try that? Please. I've already forgotten your name, so.
Anna Marie.
Anna Marie, okay. Should we start from the beginning and maybe try the staccatos too? Patting myself on the back, but I prefer that. I don't know if you guys do or not, but I think it's good. And I won't make you do it, but I just do the same nuance right there. Okay. Okay, let me see. Oh, then I wanted to ask you folks about, this is getting to my point about exaggerating and so forth. And so in bar 18 or so, there's a crescendo you guys don't do. You do it, later on, right, or no, can't find it, there, with the subito. Is that a conscious decision, or?
No.
I think it's a crescendo to subito piano, unless I'm very mistaken. Can we try, perhaps we start, boom, pick up to 15, please? I do that at least. I do at, say it again. I do at least that much. And it's a little counterintuitive because you have the subito on the downbeat and she has it on the second eighth. I think I do what he said. I mean, he paid for this expensive edition. This is what he wrote, so I would do it. Okay, good. Now, let me see. Oh, when we get to the E flat major section here, this is a small thing, but I feel like, okay, the fiddle has the tune, but even though you don't have much, I'd make it a little duet between the left hand and the fiddle. So I'd play the, I mean, your part is a little, I mean, you're playing a little sort of too much like an accompaniment. Can we try, folks, from 41, please? I think it makes it more, it's a little bit like counterpoint then. And even when the cello comes in with the sort of obligato as well, I think it also clarifies the harmonic structure, which is not very complicated, but good. Okay. Then, just one other thing. Oh, two other things. Okay. Now, I haven't played this piece in years, so I don't have a predefined idea, but I just felt from 51 that it was very static until the cadence in 57. I'm not quite sure, but I think what I would do is then left, and then left. I mean, so you may have to play the pickups to 53, I don't know, mezzo piano or even, heaven forbid, mezzo forte, so that you have some where to go down. Because it seems to me he's put a pianissimo in 55, which is probably too soon. Because when I listen to it, it just sounds like you're marking time until the next theme happens. So. Can we try? So basically, I guess what I'm saying is if you can do a good diminuendo, a real diminuendo, start a little bit stronger at 51 or 2, and then do a long diminuendo. Can we try it? Where's a good place to start?
51.
Okay, 51. No, yeah, let's just start right on down to 51, please. Something like that. I think it improves it myself. It's pretty subtle, but it's the difference between it being all the same and having some direction. Then my other question was about this section that you have now, and it's a little bit, I know that this E flat major section is going to, for the most part, be rather soft, and then when the very assertive part happens in 67, that is a surprise. But it does say, well, in your part it says appassionato, and so I've just had you do a really swell diminuendo to almost nothing here in 57, but I don't think that this passage can all be real soft, because Number one, it doesn't sound appassionato, and it also nothing happened. And there's a diminuendo in 61, and so forth. So somehow, maybe it shouldn't be sudden, but I think, golly, if you're pianissimo when you get to 57, when you get to the end of what I just talked about, perhaps, I'm flying by the seat of my pants here, but maybe in the next couple of bars you could come back up a bit dynamically so that when you get to 61, 62,
You
you
still
can
make the diminuendo
do
too.
the diminuendo. I mean, this sounds sort of maybe artificial to you, but again, I'm just wanting to avoid things being static for very long in this piece. Because if you really start, one of the interesting things about this movement and a lot of Schubert is while the interest is often in the way he changes, the key changes he makes, but the harmonies themselves are pretty simple. I mean, tons of this is just 1 and 5, just tonic and dominant. So you need to, I mean, it makes it a challenge. Okay, so I guess what I'd like you to try is when you get to the, oh, somebody circled it with a star and everything. But I mean, it's a little obtuse. I mean, you just made a diminuendo, and how do you play these beautiful harp-like arpeggios appassionato without, and you're certainly not the melody. I mean, this little, so that I get, but I guess I do feel like this should come to life a little bit. So could we start right on 57? It's really good. And you did a wonderful thing on the Neapolitan, because whatever that is, this chord, 63, because that's a big surprise harmonically after all this sort of 1 5 1 5 1, and then so anyway, yeah. So you basically, I mean, if we had more time, I'd have you do the whole thing again, but I won't. But you got louder in this passage, and then you came way down, which somebody wrote in here. So, okay, I think I'm on the same page with your coach. Bravo. Okay, now, the only, with the part where I just interrupted you, this is, you do need to be careful. It's possible, particularly on a concert ground, that your left hand's going to be a little too much.
Okay.
It wasn't an egregious problem, but it's a little bit too strong, I think, okay? Okay, I'm going to go out, but do you guys want to start where I interrupted you here?
Fortissimo.
No, I'm thinking maybe,
Oh, general pause.
yeah, how about 82? Okay, I'm going to run back out here. And maybe we'll do this in chunks, so so maybe we'll just do another chunk. We won't do the whole rest of the movie. Okay, forgive me. Just so it wouldn't bother me at all if you took a little time into the measure where I just stopped you. It's a little tricky because you're in the middle of a trill, but the piano would do it. Boom, 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 boom. Why not? Can you try the same spot, please? Stop. Okay, Grant, will you? So thank you. You must make your teacher very happy because the couple of things that I told you in the first go through, you actually did them when you got to them in the second time they happened. The crescendo up and the slow beginning of the trill and so forth. And I think that's good. I'm glad you did it. Thank you. I don't have to waste your time telling you that again. But yeah, I thought... I was wondering, have you guys listened to some recordings of this? Who have you listened to? Just
Bozart.
Bozart, yeah.
Yo-yo.
Ma and Stern and
We
Eastman.
did yo-yo once. I forgot who he was playing with though.
On like YouTube or
Yeah. On our coach's phone.
Ah. Yeah, we were talking, just chatting during break, and the ease and the free cost of using YouTube to listen to stuff you're studying is something that my generation did not grow up with, and it's a real advantage. I mean, to hear, you know, legendary performers frequently playing this stuff, and people, you know, maybe recording in their basement, who really make some wonderful music. The reason I asked is because I was wondering, I'm beginning to think as I listen to you that you might want to consider going a little bit faster.
That
Well, yeah, I mean, and I add as a caveat right after that, I'm not saying listen to more recordings because then you want to imitate them, but just
We've had a lot of opinions on this.
I'm sure.
We had a master class with
Taylor.
David Taylor and Andrew Swan, and they wanted us to play super slow and super smooth, and their coaches, you know, we have so many different opinions on this. So.
Well, as they say, many roads lead to Rome. I just listening to you guys now, if it were 2 notches faster, I think I'd like it more, but it has to be what you guys are comfortable. Maybe we'll try it. And did the third group show up, or I'm just trying to know how much time I do have. Is it just you folks? Yeah. Okay. So we can go a little bit, if you don't mind. We'll just go a little bit. So maybe after I talk just a little bit more, we'll try a little bit of it a little faster just to see. And then I'll say, well, do you like it? And you'll feel like you have to say, oh yeah, I love it. You don't have to do that, but I just like to see what it sounds like. Okay, so I just had a couple of thoughts. Yeah, bravo on the, you did it right, like it was in bar, whatever that is, 88. Just a nitpick with you. Do you got some addition I do? Yeah. Page 86. How are you, forgive me, I gotta talk about fingering this here, but how are you fingering this? Okay. It's a bear, because what I'm concerned about is that these chords are not short, the way you're doing it.
Yeah.
You may have no choice. It's hard because it's black key to a white key. Well, that's hard, but that's what I would do because my hand's a little bit bigger than yours. But if you could, well, you might play with it. Then if you can do that, I would use no pedal through here. So, you know, what you did, let's see, you did 5/4. I'll put, now, you know, if it really, that's a little bit eccentric. Actually, you can do it better than I can. So think about it. If not, I would not use any pedal except to connect those. I mean, you do need to have those shoot heel legato, but I wouldn't use any. It felt like maybe you forgot, and none of this should be stopped.
Right.
Okay, then this sort of magical moment, which would be 100 and, well, yeah, a little bit farther, when you guys come in.
Oh.
Now, I'm not a string player, this is where I get into trouble, but is there any way that when you come in 108.876, I don't know whether your vibratos can be a little faster. It's not supposed to be loud, for heaven's sakes, but it needs to be pretty intense and a little more special than what you guys are doing. Can we try? This is where the fact that I don't play a string instrument puts me at a disadvantage. Could we start maybe the measure before you come in, which would be 876, or no, 105. 105. Yeah. That was a little different than you did before, wasn't it? I think so. It's a little more, I mean, it's a thing where it's more intense, but not louder. Because you very correctly are trying to say, because you had a humongous long crescendo to do from where you started all the way to 122. So you don't want to be loud, but it's really special, and it's what I was just talking about before. Again, the harmony isn't all that radical or ingenious, but the fact that he goes to it's a deceptive cadence, he goes to a key you don't expect. Then, the other thing, 119 it's fortissimo, and then 122 it's 3 Fs. So if you can,
119 is 3 Fs. It's 3 Fs at 119.
It is?
For us,
Oh, I see. Well, he's trying to, yeah. I think, well, okay, let me play fast and loose with this. It just seems to me 119, 120, 121, and 1 are all the same. Nothing's happening there except it's really loud and you have a really busy part and so on and so forth. So I wonder if between 119 and 122 you guys could get any louder.
Okay.
I mean, gradually get a little bit. You've got all the 30-second notes, so I don't know how doable, but you could definitely with your double stops. So I would like to hear that. I'm going to get away from maybe beginning 114. What you kind of did, and I didn't tell you this, so you outsmarted me, but when you got to 119, then you kind of backed off anyway, and then, and that's really probably okay, because the melody is in the piano anyway, so it's really good. So that when you get to 122, it's a real special point, and it is because that gets us back to the key of C. It's the dominant of the key of C, which is home bass. So I'm not saying, like at 119 do a subito piano or anything, but when you start the sawing, and then so, I forget my term, but you can back it. You don't have to play triple fortissimo. I mean, you don't have to do that. But then you made a terrific crescendo to 122. It was really good. Then you might consider, I don't know if you want to do this or not, but you could take a little time into 129. Have you guys talked about that before? It's kind of an important place because
it goes back to like happy key.
Yeah, it's a little bit because you got a 2 against 3 in your part, so it's a little bit tricky ensemble, but maybe you can try it. Maybe can we begin?
Can we do 124?
Yep. Okay. It's okay. Oh, you got it memorized?
Yeah, it's
Okay. No, okay. Okay, 124. Well, yeah, you hadn't tried it before. I wouldn't start it as soon as you did myself. Maybe just on the second half of the second beat of that measure. I won't make you do it. That's something you have to try, and you may not like it, but
okay.
Actually, I think it's good. And you might, forgive me, a little detail. You might do. We don't get to show the pinky in our left hand all that much. I think that.
I do.
Not bad. Again, contrapuntal idea. And then bravo, you're showing the left hand there, absolutely fine. And then, yeah, you guys got right in the groove, and then like 145 and so forth, and came to life, just the way we talked about, so I don't have to say anything about that. Forgive me. Let's see what else. Oh, I just wanted to try. Yeah, could we do, okay, 185. Here, I mean, this passage, you know, you've been really, really loud from 177, 178, and so forth. But then you go to really low range on the fiddle, on the D there, and so forth. So I was wondering if you can do a cheap trick and beginning right there, back off. Rather than, I mean, it's really hard to do a crescendo otherwise. So maybe you would have to do it on the C. Okay? So could we try, wow, a lot of vigorous page turning here. I've done it, many times. How about 182, please? Well, I wouldn't do a D crescendo. You're da 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 da. Yeah. Okay? 182. I don't think it loses any energy or anything. I think it works. Good. I put a question mark here, but I can't remember. I don't want to take too much more time, but I'm going to run out. Can we just start?
Yeah. The Piedmont?
Yeah, maybe just a couple bars before. And forgive me. Your trills, and I think they might be candidates for the. Yeah, yeah, because yes. So could we perhaps go back to 189, please? And just keep going. I'll sort of disappear.
I'm just gonna start on the highs. Okay. Oh, okay. Wait, sorry.
Okay, want to try one time? thoughts. I won't stroll all the way back up there. Okay, so you're taking a little time into the lento, which I think for the most part that would, yeah. I suspect most times the 207 with that trill between the two of you, it goes better than it just did. Can we try it one more time? Because it's a little tricky. This is where you really have to know each other, because you have to know how you're going to slow the trill down the same way. So is one of you watching the other, or you just do it because you always do it the same way, which is nothing. But it's one of those tricky ensemble things. But I kind of like to give you another chance at it. How about if we go back to 203? Yeah. Okay. And not only that, have you all, I don't know, whether have you always done da-da, or did you
Can we
start?
go from on and up?
Yeah.
We started doing above, but
I-
then we were,
It's good. It's good. I mean, it's the same idea I was suggesting, when you actually play the main theme. And it's very effective. It's really good. So, bravo. The only thing I was going to tell you, and I just want to try the beginning and then we'll stop. I think the first the first CC to the penultimate, I wouldn't slow that one down. I just slowed the second one. It kind of. Yeah. Yeah, so can we just do the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 measures, right, where you were just singing, where you were singing. Could you just humor me and try the very beginning, just 8% faster, just to see what it's up. You may hate it, but okay? We will just do like 16 bars or something. Okay. That's too fast. Just a teeny bit less. Yeah, that's good. I'm not going to put you on the spot and say you like it, then you'll feel like I won't take a poll yet, but I think the movement is a little, it lends itself to some of the stuff I was talking about. Things don't take quite as long to happen. Okay. And so I guess mostly what I have done the past 45 minutes is sort of futz around with the dynamics, but everything that you did that I suggested, I think really enhances it, and I would try it slightly faster tempo. Okay? All right, thanks a lot.